Federal Aviation Administration announced very late on Tuesday, like just before midnight, I think local time, that it was closing down the airspace over the city of El Paso, Texas for at least 10 days. Not the upper airspace, like planes flying over El Paso would have been fine, but lower airspace, which would have shut down El Paso International Airport because you can't take off or land a plane if the airspace is closed at those levels. It then rescinded the announcement about 8 hours later. I still can't get a handle on exactly what happened here. There was reporting from CNN and other outlets that the Pentagon had decided to either conduct anti-drone drills in the El Paso area, or that it was planning to use some anti-drone weapons in responding to something that the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, called a cartel drone incursion. Whatever the plan was here, the Pentagon apparently didn't inform the FAA that it was going to be using these weapons, which can pose a hazard to flights. Like you're talking about laser weapons, or and other things to kind of confuse the tracking of these things, or to otherwise interrupt them electronically. So it would have been maybe a good idea for the Pentagon to kind of communicate this to the FAA in a more timely fashion. But when the FAA finally found out, and it was like too late to do anything about it, they ordered this panicked shutdown of the airspace over El Paso. There are regularly, bodies, objects that fly across the border from Mexico, and probably vice versa. I mean, everybody's focused on what's coming over from Mexico in this circumstance, because it's the U.S. government that's reacting. But there are drones, some of them probably connected to cartels, that kind of cross the border back and forth periodically, and that doesn't seem to usually generate this level of kind of freak out on the part of U.S. authorities. Later on, there was a story that the U.S. had actually already responded, like the U.S. military already responded to some sort of incursion from a number of projectiles earlier this week. It was reported that one of those objects was not, at least one of them, was not actually a cartel drone. It was like a Mylar party balloon. Between this and the Chinese balloon that we shot down a few years ago, like if you've got balloon problems, don't worry, because the U.S. military, if it can do nothing else, can shoot down a fucking balloon